All right, so what is geo-farming? A lot of people have asked me this over the last 20 years. I've definitely achieved a level of success farming 2 different communities in Austin, Texas over the last 10 years. And I thought that there's never been a better time than now to share the knowledge that I've acquired over the last 10 years, geo-farming these 2 neighborhoods. So farming is a strategic, consistent blueprint. It's this is what I'm going to teach today for real estate agents who want to dominate a specific area or part of town where you live without wasting money and without burning out. So this is a proven system that I've developed over the last 10 years that has helped me to transform roughly $3,500 a year into well over $100,000 in GCI annually. And I'm going to teach you guys how to do that today. Super exciting and fired up to share this stuff with you guys. So with that being said, this specific mailing plan, again, has helped me turn roughly $3,500 into 6-figure months just from targeting one specific community, neighborhood, master planned area, whatever you want to call it. It's not fancy, it's not complicated, but it does have proven results and it pays huge dividends. So we all know that real estate success doesn't happen by accident. We are not successful in a vacuum. It takes consistency and persistence and intentional efforts to stay in front of your audience. If you're tired of sending random just sold postcards with minimal returns and no response, this is a system that is designed specifically for you. As real estate agents, we often struggle with creating consistent and effective farming strategies that actually create communication and ultimately listings without draining our bank accounts or just getting super frustrated and tired and questioning, why am I spending this money on these postcards that are just going to the local landfill? Well, today we are going to bust that myth. We're going to you got to change your mindset. The blueprint that I'm going to provide today is a structured approach to geographic farming that transforms sporadic marketing into a strategic system, which I think you're going to love. I'm going to share with you the exact 12-month calendar that I use personally, detailed information on the mail types and the timing, and most importantly, how you are going to want to connect each piece of mail to meaningful conversations that will translate into commissions, or I guess I should say compensation now. In other words, listings. So the strategic calendar involves 12 months. Key decision-making windows for homeowners. Obviously, you want to target your mailing to whatever time of year it is. I prefer to start in the spring, of course. Nice fresh start. I'm going to provide you guys with specific formats and the content for each mailer, optimized for maximum engagement with your audience. And again, these are homeowners in a specific geographic area near you. Conversation triggers are going to be shared, effective call to action strategies, and these will all lead to listings, which can be turned into gold. And listings, if you don't list, you don't last. Business turns into more business. So what I would encourage you to do, and what I'm going to teach you to do, is to not waste money on ineffective farming, and to not waste money on sending out one card that says, I just sold 123 Main Street, and then you never send another card again. We want to avoid that. So my system is built on proven experience and real world results that can be replicated in your market with the right implementation. So why does this work? Geographic farming is a strategy for us, but it's also where many professional agents stumble. And I've had lots of conversations about this in the last 2 or 3 years specifically, because that's when my farm is kind of blown up. The traditional approach often leads to inconsistent results, frustrated agents, wasted money, and eventually abandonment issues over the entire strategy, because you're not seeing immediate results. When you plant a seed in the ground, you're not lifting the seed up out of the dirt and checking on its progress every couple weeks. You are going to let that seed grow, and you're going to fertilize it and get some sun on it, and then you're going to get some fruit from that farm. So let's examine why most agents give up on farming and how the system provides solutions to these common challenges. First off, we have to focus on the windows of opportunity. And this system that I've developed aligns perfectly with when homeowners are actually going to make their selling decisions, as opposed to arbitrary calendar dates when you may have just listed a home, or maybe you just sold a house. So let's examine why a lot of you probably have given up on farming after sending out 1 or 2 cards, and we're gonna change your mindset today. So most geographic farming efforts fail because agents approach the process without a structure. And in order for us to gauge our effectiveness, we need to have smart and measurable goals, right? This makes perfect sense, but a lot of people unfortunately don't stick with it. So you may send an occasional postcard when inspiration strikes, but then this sporadic approach rarely builds the recognition and the trust needed for people to actually pick the phone up and say, hey, we want to call Steve to potentially come and share what he thinks the value of our home is. So again, consistency, persistence, super, super important, fundamental stuff with farming. The cadence of when you are mailing things out is critical. And obviously we don't want you to break the bank sending out card after card and not getting a return. So I'm gonna teach you how to avoid that. So with that being said, I think that with just 6 strategically planned mailers per year instead of random cards and thank you notes, we can effectively reach our goal of winning listings. So another common pitfall that agents run into is a lack of meaningful messaging. Generic sort of just listed or just sold postcards without strategic timing or compelling calls to action fail to engage homeowners, and the postcard just ends up in the local landfill as opposed to going into a kitchen kind of junk drawer, or even better yet, on their refrigerator where they can see your smiling face. And there's a little bit of an evergreen component to that. That's what we want to have happen. So finally, many agents never implement the systems in order to track the results from the money being spent on the mailers, and it prevents them from optimizing the approach based on what actually works. So what sets my system apart is its foundation in behavioral psychology and real estate seasonality. This is really, really important. By understanding when homeowners are most receptive to selling messages and providing valuable information at those precise moments, you can position yourself as the neighborhood expert exactly when decisions are being made, usually in the 4th quarter, and we will touch on that going forward here. This system's strategic spacing also allows each of the messages to resonate before the next touch point, creating a perception of consistent presence, in other words, staying in front of your audience without overwhelming them or your bank account, even more critical. So get your notepads out. Your 6-touch farming calendar is going to look like this. You want to have intentionality and a little strategery planned with your farming before you start dropping $350 per quarter on this stuff. You want it to be easy to repeat and designed for specific results, ROI. So the backbone of the farming system is a carefully structured calendar. Unlike random marketing efforts, this approach follows the natural rhythm of real estate decision making from the spring through to the summer into kind of the autumn, and then into the fall when decisions are being made and family is in town and we're sitting around the holiday table talking about what we're going to do in the coming year. So every one of the touch points is strategic, and it's positioned properly to maximize impact and generate listing conversations. This is what we want. You want to stay in front of that audience with repeated, strategic, and well thought out intentionality. Super, super important. So what I like to do in March is send a postcard out that talks about what has happened since January 1st. I'm a huge fan of infographics. You will hear me talking about this over and over. Infographics are visually appealing and engaging. People sort of eat the information with their eyes, and if they can see a histogram or a graph or a chart that shows how their home's value has changed since January 1st, or how many homes have sold in the neighborhood since the beginning of the year, that is going to resonate with those homeowners. So that's typically something I like to share in the spring, the first 3 to 4 months of the year, and I'll share examples of that as we move forward. June 1st would be postcard or letter number 2, with kind of a summer activity update. Temperatures are rising, so are home sales, yada, yada, yada. Again, I'll share examples of what I like to send out to my farm. And then August 1st, football season has started, time to bust out the barbecue grills, things like that. And I'll share examples. And then we get into the fall. So as we're approaching kind of October 1st or mid-October, I like to make more of a personal connection with my audience to let them know that I have a presence in that community and that I'm paying attention. So then I'm going to get a little more specific with the details in terms of what I'm sharing, average sold price per square foot, how many homes have sold in the community since January 1st, average list price per square foot, total sales volume, and then again, eye-catching, engaging infographics with your branding. And that's one of the wonderful things about EXP. You get to brand your business, and then you've got EXP in one of the corners on your postcard, and you're staying in front of your audience, which of course is the goal. Once November 1st rolls around, this is the critical time of the year when you probably want to do some sort of a handwritten card in addition to a jumbo postcard with all of your branding on it. And again, I'm going to share some examples of that. The beauty of the system that I use is that it's simple and you don't have to overthink it. And you can lean on me for examples of what to use, when to use it, how much it's going to cost you. This is low-hanging fruit. We all know that one agent that has sent us a postcard that said just sold, or I just moved into the neighborhood and I'm the new expert, and then you never hear from them again. To me, that's a missed opportunity, and it's also a waste of $300 to $500. So we're not going to do that, though. I'm going to teach you how to be consistent, strategic, intentional, and with the CTA at the end of all of this stuff so you can measure the results. So the calendar that I'm sharing with you guys is designed with psychological triggers in mind, anticipating when homeowners are going to be making decisions about selling. We want to provide relevant information on the crucial decision points, and that's going to resonate with your audience. Super simple. We don't want to overthink this. We just basically want to include the correct ingredients for the perfect farm that you get to cultivate in the spring when your phone rings and you get 3 or 4 listings per year out of that community, which is what I've done for the last 10 years in one particular neighborhood here in Austin, Texas. It's a wonderful system. So now we're going to kind of dig into the 6 critical touch points a little further. So jumbo infographic postcard. There's an example of one of the ones that I've used for the community here in Austin. Notice how the colors are engaging and it matches my branding. You can see infographics here, which are wonderful. Shows the average days on the market and the number of homes that have sold since January 1st. I've got the actual price points here over the last 5 years. The first touch point in the farming calendar serves as kind of your introduction to the community. In some cases, if you're a newer agent, you may have to fake it till you make it. It's really important that you maintain the right mindset. These people who are receiving your cards, they don't know if you've been an agent for 10 years or for 10 months. And so you've got to have the appropriate mindset. Don't get in your own way. Remove the stinking thinking, okay? And just literally follow what I'm doing. Super, super easy. So again, first touch point in March, kind of an update, an introduction to the community. I'm the real estate expert. I'm the neighborhood pro on real estate. If it's real estate related and you need any information, I'm the guy to talk to. Here's my smiling face and here's my contact information. You have to remember, you're planting a seed. You want to be a pebble in the shoe with these folks. And then as you hit them with, as you send more information to them, your face and your phone number and all that stuff is going to stick in their minds. And guess what? You'll be the person that they call when they're considering a transition in their housing. So this all aligns perfectly with the beginning of the year, your introduction. I think a jumbo postcard is a great way to do that. Large, high quality headshot and contact information, clean, readable infographics that resonate with your audience, super important. Obviously, you know, I've used a QR code over the years that goes to a link tree or a landing page where you can track their interest, and then you can reach out to these people via email. You can kind of drip on them throughout the year. Of course, community Facebook pages in that neighborhood that you're farming, if you can get access to that. If you list one home in a particular neighborhood, the odds are good that that homeowner has access to the community Facebook page. And if you catch more bees with honey, you can get that homeowner, who is now a client of yours and a trusted friend and cheerleader advocate for you, they can give you access to that Facebook page, and you can kind of drip in that way as well. So the jumbo postcard should be immediately establishing your credentials as the community expert. Again, don't overthink this. I mean, I've talked to lots of agents about this stuff. You are the expert so long as you tell other people that you are. You know, there's the statistic out there that says that 90% of home sellers work with the first agent that they talk with, and that would be you. So if you're at the kitchen table with some folks who are considering listing with you, that's the mindset that you need to have when you go to that listing appointment after all of this farming works and your phone rings in the spring and you win a listing. It's a wonderful thing. It has happened to me dozens of times. This system works. So the primary focus always should be getting appointments, especially as we're moving into the spring. With a general market update, we want to just announce to the neighborhood again that you're the pro. So your call to action should be forward-looking, thinking of selling in 2026. We need to talk an early strategy. This plants the seed for future conversations without creating pressure for any immediate action. Again, you just want to introduce yourself and let these people know that you're the expert. You live right up the street and you're there to help, and you are going to get them the most money for their home in the least amount of time in the most efficient way. Super, super important. And I will share more examples of these cards. So remember, the first touch point isn't about generating immediate ROI or listings. Obviously, it's the springtime. Some of these folks have probably already got relationships with other agents, and that's fine. That's fine. Again, please don't get in your own way. It's all about establishing presence and beginning the relationship building process. We're going to elaborate on how to kind of get that seed to germinate and have some stuff coming up out of the ground in your farm. And by the way, that's the way that I love to think about this. It makes it a lot more fun and engaging for me as the agent. When I'm spending $350 to $500 sending out cards or handwritten letters to my farm, I'm thinking about that literally like I'm tilling soil. So I'm planting the seeds. If you're a farmer, you have to pay for the dirt. You have to pay for the fertilizer. You have to pay for the water. We're blessed in North America. We don't have to pay for sunlight. It's a wonderful thing. But you want to think of this, you would just want to have the appropriate mindset. So you literally are farming a particular community. For me, this neighborhood, Rocky Creek, that you see on the postcard contains 400 homes. It's the perfect farm. And I literally am getting 2 to 3 listings per year from that farm. That is roughly $40,000 to $75,000 every year from this plot of homes that I've been farming. And now I'm to the point where I have listed and sold over 10% of the neighborhood, which is it's just fantastic. It makes me smile whenever I say that. So moving forward, mailer number 2, June 1st. So this is when summer is starting. The heat is cranking up. So are the home sales typically. You've probably just experienced a nice positive spring selling season. So this is a fantastic card. The example that I have here is a just sold card. These are 4 homes that I sold that year in Rocky Creek. I believe this was probably 2021 maybe. The spring market's in full swing, making this the perfect time to showcase your success and your market expertise. So take some pride in the things that you've already done in that community, especially if you live there. You should also be thinking about civic, social, and charitable things that will also push your presence and keep you top of mind with all of the homeowners in the neighborhood. This is the second touch point. It builds on the foundation that we established with the first postcard. While you're demonstrating your active involvement in the community, again, civic, social, charitable, you should write that down. And we can talk more about that going forward. You've got 2 strong options for this mailer. You can do a just sold mailer. If you're a newer agent, you can lean back on kind of an introductory. I mean, there's so many things that you can do for content, just listed, just sold, community information about a new school that's coming or a new fire station that's down the street. There's no shortage of things that you can share with this stuff. So we can talk more about that. Either approach reinforces your property knowledge and establishes, again, your presence as a consistent, reliable source of real estate information and knowledge. Super, super important. This is the easiest way to generate $50,000 to $75,000 a year. And you do not need to reinvent the wheel. You can literally recreate what I've done, which is fantastic. So the focus here should be on highlighting market activity and the demand for people who want to be in your neighborhood or the neighborhood down the street that you're farming. So specific data points really help. Hyper-local stats whenever possible. We all know that real estate is hyper-local. Sometimes it comes down to the street that you're on with amazing views versus the other side of the street that doesn't have the view. And I have targeted Rocky Creek and then another community in Austin called Headwaters. Some of you might be familiar. Building relevance with your farm is key. Homeowners basically are the most focused on what's happening in their specific neighborhood. It's not going to resonate as much with homeowners if you're referring to the county that you live in or the city as a whole, although those statistics are certainly interesting and relevant. If I'm a homeowner in a particular subdivision, I want to know what my neighbor just did 2 months ago with his or her home. So your call to action at the bottom of these cards should always acknowledge the current market condition while continuing to kind of look ahead. Inventory is still low, or in the case of Austin, right now in 2025, inventory is actually quite high. So something to think about. You definitely want to be providing current and relevant information on that community and the local within, I would say, 2 to 3 mile area. The message should create urgency without being pushy, suggesting that homeowners should be thinking about their options, even if they're not necessarily ready to sell right away. So the summer mailer, the June mailer, serves as a crucial reinforcement of your March introduction. Homeowners should begin recognizing you as the community neighborhood real estate expert who's right up the street and who's ready to hustle and help. Sometimes the Rudy factor comes into play. No one's ever going to ask you, when is the last time you listed and sold a home in my community? I was very worried about that when I started 20 years ago. I never once got that question. You're the expert so long as you brand yourself as such. So keep that in mind. And if you want some positivity and inspiration, let's talk. Moving forward. So mailer number 3 in August. At this point, you are now, I would say, after this third mailer, about $1,000 into this farm. And you're going to start to see a little bit of movement potentially. You will definitely see it in the fall. And if things go as planned and you follow my proven strategy, you're going to see dividends in the spring. So August 1st, thinking of selling Postcard. So you can see from this example that I am sharing my production in Rocky Creek specifically. I've sold up to, almost $10 million worth of single family beautiful homes in Rocky Creek that year. And so that's why this says 10 million in production. At this point, potential sellers are starting to recognize who I am, and they're starting to recognize my face. That's a good thing. This is like you're now starting to fertilize your farm instead of making sure that the seeds are germinating. And again, keep your mind in the right place. This is something that you should be doing sort of in a passive way, and then you just get super excited for the following spring. So by August 1st, you're now establishing your presence in the farm. With all your previous touch points, this is the third time that you're hitting all of those same homes. I recommend that your farm be no more than 750 homes. It depends on your budget, but my farm in Rocky Creek is 400 specifically, and then now I've broadened that, and I sort of bought I'm farming another piece of land here across the street at a community called Provence. So my farm is now up to 800 homes, which costs me around $6,000 to $7,000 a year. But let's keep things in proper perspective. When I list and sell one home, as we all know, the compensation can range from $15,000 to $30,000. So talk about an ROI. I mean, I get excited talking about this stuff, and it's one of the reasons why I wanted to share this with my EXP family. So super, super awesome, incredible way to build long-term income. The consistency of the communication is now going to start to pay dividends in the summer and then definitely into the fall. So this postcard should be more directly focused on selling versus thinking of selling. You can use a proactive kind of assumptive sale at this point. And you're just, again, you're subconsciously planting seeds in these sellers' minds that you are the pro. So early planning allows for strategic improvements that maximize the return on your investment and appeal to stay in touch, to stay in front of those sellers. So focus the content on end of summer and early fall strategies. This is when people are starting to talk about what they're going to do in the following spring. Your call to action should be creating a sense of opportunity. You want to get ahead of the fall rush. You want to talk about strategy. You want to talk about moving companies. You want to talk about the landscaping in your yard. You want to talk about repairs that might need to be done, potentially staging your home. As soon as you start the dialogue with potential sellers without being pushy, without being in their face, you just kind of been dripping on them now. This is the third drip. Then you might start to see a return on your investment in the fall, and those people are going to be leaning on you as the expert. So let's see, moving on to the next topic. So this is your first fall mailer. You can see an example here. Fall is officially here. Time to enjoy outdoor weather, cooler weather, plenty of football, and holiday parties with family and friends. Well, if you're anything like me, guess when you talk about making a move in the spring, in the fall, right? When families come to visit and people have time off and they start working in the garage and the backyard and the front yard, and they notice the things that need love, the projects that they've been procrastinating on. This is the time when home sellers are going to dig in their kitchen drawer and they're going to find one of your postcards with your contact information on it. And then you're going to get that $20,000 phone call. And this has happened to me many times, and it just doesn't get old. For those of you who've been in the business a long time, when someone calls me and asks me to come and explain to them what I think their home is worth, that is an exciting day. That's potentially a $20,000 to $30,000 opportunity. Yes. And that still gets me excited even after 20 years in the business. So mid-October marks a shift in the farming strategy with an introduction of a more personalized sort of format. You'll notice this letter here in the upper right. It shows basically that you've got a proven track record and you'd love to earn their business. And you sign each one of these letters too, guys. So I'm going to talk a little more in detail on this. You can print these out at your local FedEx Kinko's. Obviously, you want to use EXP branded letterhead. I do recommend, and you can rip off and recreate this exact letter. Thank you for doing that, by the way. It's the sincerest form of flattery. No reason to overthink this. No excuses. You can do the identical thing that I'm doing. You're welcome, and make lots and lots of money. Super easy letter. I do recommend signing them each individually. Take a pen, sign your signature on every one. There are machines at FedEx Kinko's that will actually tri-fold these letters. Highly recommend postage from the post office. And I might be getting a little ahead of myself here, keeping time in mind. You do not want to run 350 or 500 letters through a postage meter at your office, as tempting as that might be, or at the post office. Go and buy stamps. Take your kids with you. It's actually kind of fun. I remember when stamps were 29 cents. I'm kind of aging myself, but go buy stamps and actually put those on the envelope, and then use Avery 5160 labels. A little bit of a hack here that I want to share with you. You can have the business development person at your local title company run those labels for you, and then you just go to your local FedEx Kinko's and buy the 5160 labels. Once you have that part of this process done, put on your favorite, White Lotus, whatever's on Netflix, your favorite basketball game, football, and you got to start labeling these envelopes. It's tedious. It's time consuming. I'm fully aware. I've been doing this for 10 years. I literally just did 450 letters last night. My favorite part of the process, taking a damp sponge and sealing 400 envelopes. It's a monkey could do it, but it pays big, big, big money. So that's where my head is at while I'm doing this stuff. You got to tri-fold the letter. You've got to lick, stick, stuff the envelopes. Say that fast 5 times. But again, it pays massive dividends. Focus your mind on the brass ring at the end of this whole thing. Take it from me. If I can make 115 grand in one 30-day period, which is awesome, by the way, so can you. So there's your pep talk. We want to lead with value. You want people to know your personality. We want people to know that you're a human being. You live down the street. You've got your green egg. You like football. You've got kids. Authenticity is your superpower. So the fall letter is a way that you can share that you are the real estate pro. And that, again, now you're in front of these people for the 4th time. So you should have a business card in this envelope, or something unique and memorable. You can use a QR code. There are stickers. You can simply print the QR code to your link tree, potentially on one of these letters, and then you can actually track how many people are responding, and then you can drip on them. So that's also fantastic. So moving forward, then we're getting into November 1st. So this is when you really want to ramp up your marketing efforts. And now you are starting to see buds on the vine, the proverbial fruit that is going to be big and ripe and juicy in the spring. So there's another example of my fall postcard. You can see that is actually from this year. That is I believe a spring card, Rocky Creek sale since January 1st. And again, if this is not relevant, it doesn't resonate with your audience, then something's wrong. Everyone, I would say 85% of people that get this specific postcard branded to you, eye-catching infographics, they're going to put it in their kitchen drawer. Best case scenario, goes on the refrigerator. And now you are absolutely the proverbial sort of mosquito in the tent. And when they're thinking of selling in the spring, guess who they're going to call? So infographics, super, super important, eye-catching, engaging, has your contact information. They can eat this elephant, right? It's not too much information. It's just enough to satiate, to keep them engaged with you. As November begins, your farming strategy is going to be entering a critical phase where all of your efforts for the year are going to start to pay off. This is big. This is when you should be getting excited. Your November 1st mailer should leverage the timing with comprehensive market data that helps inform those intentions and reflections. You'll notice I've got annual appreciation there. I mean, give me a break. Every homeowner wants to know if they're making money. Even if they have no intention of listing and selling in the spring, the fact that their home's value has gone up by 12% that year is 1,000% important to them. Even if this postcard goes to the local landfill, which it will not, by the way. How many months of inventory? 3.2. Looks to me like it's a seller's market. That's awesome. 14 days to sell. Last time I checked, that's lightning fast. So infographic postcards, that's my favorite. You can use a company like Canva. You can use Quantum Digital. That's a company that I've worked with in the past. There are local mailing houses or fulfillment centers that will mail these cards out for you, and you can draw a geographic map with the tools that they provide, and you can pick out the 500 homes or 750 homes that you would like to farm. And again, I would keep it limited to that because it does get expensive, and they will also save those lists for you. In my case, it's Rocky Creek Farm, and then now it's a community called Provence. Super, super easy. So focus the content on the year-to-date trends. This is the perfect time of year to do that. Fourth quarter home values. You want to include specific data points such as the price appreciation, the number of homes that have sold since January 1st, the average sold price, that's super important, versus the average list price, total sales volume. I don't know how important that is to a lot of homeowners, but it's all relevant. So the November mailer specifically is a strategically timed postcard that capitalizes on previous touch points. These people are going to remember you now. Unless they've moved in the middle of the year, they're absolutely going to remember you. And obviously this is a numbers game, so the bigger the farm, the more people will be potentially calling you in the spring, which is super exciting. So you have made multiple contact with these homeowners, and that's something you want to continue to focus on. It's a wonderful thing that you're doing, and it will pay huge dividends. So the QR code is something that I have implemented, and it's a great way to track the integration that your clients, how many people are getting your cards and what they're doing with them. Obviously, if someone clicks on your QR code, that is an indication that they want more information and that they're okay hearing from you, which is wonderful. So moving forward, this is when we get into the fall. And again, super critical part of the year. At this point, when you've mailed out your 6th jumbo postcard or handwritten letter, and I like to do a combination of the two. Sometimes I will use just 5x7 cards, depends what I'm promoting, a sock drive in the neighborhood, or a golf fundraising event, or a Pups and Pints event. We can talk more about this. It's another opportunity for you to stay in front of your audience. Typically in the fall, it's a great opportunity to host some sort of a community event, and you can include kids. There's all kinds of ideas about this, but the holiday gratitude letter or card is a wonderful time. It's just a wonderful opportunity to engage with your audience, to tell them you're thinking about them, and to just wish them happy holidays to them, to their families. So this is kind of one of the final touch points on your farming calendar. Typically, we can mail this out towards Thanksgiving, maybe the first part of December. If people haven't already made a decision about listing, they're going to be doing it soon. They haven't probably decided on who they're going to work with, but you've done a fantastic job at this point in the year of staying in front of your audience. And so the timing here ensures delivery before the peak holiday rush when your message might otherwise be lost. So super, super important. At this point, you might want to throw in something like a refrigerator calendar or some sort of swag that's branded to you that they can keep. And I can share examples of that. I have tons of that stuff. Focus your content on genuine seasonal appreciation rather than overt marketing. Again, at this point, these people will remember you, and you don't want to be sort of shoving real estate down their throat. You just want to let them know that you're there. You want to kind of have a grounded presence in the community. So this softens the approach and it aligns with the mood of the season while maintaining your presence in a tasteful and courteous way. You don't want to come across as being too pushy. So the call to action should be exceptionally gentle, wishing you joy this holiday season. We want to keep these things neutral. You don't want to alienate yourself or scare people away. This is my favorite time of the year, by the way. The fall time of year is wonderful. And, if you have a dog and you're out walking the dog, you can talk to neighbors that way. These people are going to see you. They're going to remember you. Always keep cards in your pocket. I have really creative, fun, magnetic poker chip business cards, and we can talk more about that. These are multiple touch points and multiple ways for you to stay in front of your audience, which again translates into listings, and that translates into a change for the better in your checking account. So that's good stuff. The gentle approach to future business is particularly important in the fall. So for any questions, of course, I'm more than happy to discuss any of this stuff with you guys. So super exciting. So implementing an effective farming system requires more than just strategy. It really depends on the right tools that you're using. Super critical. I've already tried all kinds of fun stuff, and there are pitfalls that you want to avoid. Consistency is the #1 name of the game. That's the word for this entire masterclass. Persistence and consistency. Don't overthink it. Just follow the leader. In this case, that would be me. I'm one of many, but the system that I've developed works. So that's pretty much it. It's proven. So having tested numerous platforms and services over the years on geographic farming, I have figured out what's worked for me. There's no reason that it can't work for you as well. And again, the tools that I've used include Canva, Quantum Digital here in Austin, Texas. I don't know if that's a Vista Print. There's other companies out there. You can check on the quality of the materials. I would always ask that you get a sample card delivered to your house as well, or ask one of the neighbors in the community that you're farming to hold on to your stuff. I always get some of my own cards. ChatGPT. Everyone's talking about AI. There is no reason why. In fact, there's every reason you should be using ChatGPT. And if I'm not mistaken, OpenAI just released ChatGPT 4.0 today. If you are not using AI, you are being left behind. Big neon letters. You have got to be incorporating AI into your business. This is critical. So please, I encourage you to use AI to help you. It's wonderful. And we can talk. I'm more than happy to share my playbook with you on that particular topic as it pertains to farming. So tracking and optimization. We want measurable, smart goals that we can track. And so you can see what you are getting in terms of a return on your $350 to $450 investment each quarter. The total that you'll be spending per year on average is around about $3,500 per year total with letters and postcards. Not that much money to get back a massive return. So with that being said, you can co-brand some of your cards to offset your costs. And this is genius. I did not figure this out until I was in the business for about 8 or 9 years. And I finally found a lender that said, hey, let's co-brand your next card to Rocky Creek. And I thought, that's brilliant. And all of a sudden my costs were decreased by half. They were cut in half. What a wonderful thing. And it's a great opportunity to co-brand and to share the lender's information. He now gets all of my business. So business development people at your local title office are super hungry. They'll go out of their way. They've got that title credit card that they can use to help you. It is a wonderful thing. Lean on your local business development person at the title office. Get them to send you the addresses for your entire farm on Avery 5160 labels, which you can then simply print out. And then you order your EXP envelopes, which I've done. You also want to get a return address stamp for that envelope, either the back flap of the envelope Remember what I said. I hope you're writing this down. You want to use postage from the post office, not a postage meter. You want to hand sign all of your letters. Obviously, a jumbo postcard is sent out from a fulfillment center, so you're not going to be signing that, but you want to make sure at the very least that the quality of the paper is good and you're representing yourself in the appropriate way as a, potentially $1 million luxury real estate expert in that community. You don't want flimsy paper and ink that smears and all that other fun stuff. More than happy to answer questions about that. Co-branded letters, I think, are really critical. There's no reason that you have to break the bank. This is a common, it's a limiting belief that people talk to me about. And I think, you know what? I'm going to give you some tough love, Mr. and Mrs. Agent that lives, in another community. You're making excuses. So sorry, guys, tough love. There's no excuse. You've got ChatGPT. Postage is not that much money, and this pays huge dividends. So there's another example of the front of one of my postcards, and then of course the address for the potential homeowner. And you can choose with Quantum Digital to have it say or current resident, right? This is pretty straightforward stuff. Mr. and Mrs. Jones or current resident, because as good as the title, as the business development person is at the title company, they're not necessarily going to be able to get everybody's address. People move and all that fun stuff. So, and then of course, again, remember to get a sample postcard sent to your address or to a friend's home so that you can keep a stack of these things for future reference. And then maybe you can be teaching a class like this in the future. So, there you go. So you got to choose your farm. I recommend homes that are 5 to 7 years old. Statistically, people are going to be selling after 5 to 7 years, sometimes sooner, sometimes later, but that is a target-rich environment. I would not be necessarily targeting a gated community with $1 million plus homes if you are not comfortable selling $1 million luxury homes. It took me years to work my way up and to get comfortable. It's just another zero. It's the same process selling $1 million home for the most part. There might be some bigger egos involved, but essentially it's similar stuff. You just need to massage your sellers. That's all. And we're all professionals. We can do a great job at that. So set your 12-month schedule in advance. So again, you just sort of set it and forget it. And then there's nothing to think about. And if you have questions, you can lean on someone like myself, and I will coach you through this entire process. Design your first mailer. So you want to have eye-catching graphics. You can choose the fonts. I have a graphics person that helps me nowadays. We're blessed with Canva Pro accounts at EXP. This should not limit your ability to do this. No stinking thinking. All right, you got this. So design your first mailer, order your print for delivery. Super, super exciting. You should have a beautiful headshot at this point in your career. Get your branding on there. If you don't have a logo for your organization, that's something you want to take care of. Track your sends and recipients. This is really important as well. Figure out where this stuff is landing, how many people are actually looking at it. Use the QR code. That's a trendy thing right now. There's no reason. And then you can tie in a list. I like to work with Quantum Digital and Constant Contact in Austin. Lofty is fantastic for tracking these things. The point is you want to track the number of people who are clicking on the QR codes so that you can share more relevant information with them. You want to be hitting these people from multiple directions. So there's no reason you can't be emailing them, sharing information on the community Facebook pages, civic, social, charitable. So this is a whole sort of umbrella marketing strategy. It will absolutely win you listings 1,000%. And we can celebrate in the spring. You can come to Texas and have some delicious barbecue, your treat, of course. And when this works, because you will be harvesting fruit after 12 months using this system. So that's it. You are ready to dominate your farm. And so I'm going to leave you with some critical highlights. Remember to use postage. Don't use a postage meter. Remember to sign all of your letters. Remember to think about intentional strategic marketing. Remember that you want to have the appropriate mindset. So look at that glass as half full. People have to sleep somewhere at night. They're going to be buying and selling. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So again, when I'm thinking about farming, I'm thinking about the next 3 to 5 years. I'm not thinking about 3 to 5 days. Okay, so setting the appropriate expectation is really important when you're building and cultivating a farm. Sometimes when you're out on a country road driving along, you're going to see this beautiful plot of land, or maybe you're up in an airplane looking down and it looks like beautiful brown, gorgeous dirt full of minerals. The next time you drive by, it's a field filled with big, beautiful corn or cotton or soybeans. Those farmers had a lot of work to do when they planted the seeds and they fertilized, and you get the picture. So that's how you should think about this. It works, and it's worked for me. And I got news for you. Making over $100,000 in 1 month, that's a game changer. That equates to savings. That equates to no debt. That equates to taking care of the people around you, your family, your loved ones. It's really, really powerful. That's why I'm passionate about this particular topic. So you now have the tools for a 6-touch marketing system, farming system that has consistently generated me over 100K per month, at least more than 1 month anyway, that I remember. So whether you're establishing your first farm or optimizing an existing farm, implement these strategies and watch the money come rolling in. And more importantly, at the end of the day, we are helping people. So it isn't always about the dollars. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. You're building long-term relationships with people. That's probably one of the most fulfilling parts of this to me and in my business is my freedom, of course, and then and building relationships with amazing people who I get to give big hugs to at the closing table, and they were thrilled to have my guidance and my leadership going through this process. And I mean, most people are buying and selling 2, 3, maybe 4 homes in their lifetime, and you've been chosen to help them go through that. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. So this is a blueprint that I've shared with you. This is another slide here, which is wonderful. It's got the QR code, and you'll notice my branding and all of my colors. Of course, EXP there. I love my EXP family. If you implement this blueprint, remember the consistency beats complexity. This is straightforward stuff. So no excuses. You'll notice I've got a link here to book a call with me. If you'd like to book a call with me, I would love to talk with you more about this. I'm kind of running out of time here. But if you have questions about any of the things that I've covered in this masterclass, please don't hesitate to reach out. Super, super excited to share this knowledge. I've been at it a long time, and I would love to think that I can help you dominate a farm in your area, wherever that might be. And let's make 2026 and the latter half of this year successful and engaging and just so full of joy for your clients. So it's not too late. In fact, now is the perfect time to be starting when you're thinking about spring of this coming year. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to talking with you soon. I appreciate you.